everyone, and welcome back to Rewatching RWBY. I'm still Jenny, that is still Madison.
Hello.
Alright, we made it past the hard part of Volume 5, into Volume 6. I remember a lot of ups and downs. It's a bit of a mixed bag. You've never seen it.
We're officially at the part. Every, season, I'd be like, I didn't watch this one. And they're like, I actually did. Fun fact. I think we're officially at the season that I have not watched. We'll see how that is.
A lot of ups, a lot of downs. I know we start on probably the lowest down we could because, someone decided making the Adam character short was a good idea.
Stop, I forgot. I was like, I'm really excited. I feel some dread, though. What is that about? Adam.
Adam. There are things I remember liking about it. Some things I remember being like, what? But that's just kind of the RWBY experience, Generally in a constant flux of, that was cool, but why'd they do this?
Yes. Here's my son's shirt that I've been talking about. It's really cool. It's probably can't see from camera, but
I might be able to zoom
awesome.
In.
There's he's fighting. I like the art style.
Mm-hmm.
I think I already got some stains on it from just now eating. It's great.
It's great. We're thriving.
We're thriving.
I am running out of red, white, black, and yellow things to wear. Anything else?
I don't think so. I'm just excited to watch more RWBY, which is not a sentence
I can't believe
I ever thought I would have said again.
This is our lives. The one thing I look forward to every week now is when can we watch more RWBY?
I am now watching early seasons of RWBY for comfort. I think the last time I ever did that was me age 14, which, it feels 8 years ago.
Oh, stop. Stop. I know everybody says that, you'll circle back around and find all the things that you found cool at 13, cool again when you're, older. And I'm like, why was a fundamental core of my childhood this stupid show? Let's get into it. Can Adam just stop existing?
Yeah. Before we even started, I put a sad face next to his name, and that was a correct assumption.
I love how that was maybe 3 minutes, and I think you and I combined have more thoughts on this than all 3 character shorts for Volume 5.
Yes.
I'll start with, why is Ilya here? Why is she here? Because her being here makes everything significantly worse than it needs to be. A, if she's young, why are they letting a child go on these, very serious missions? If she's not, then that means that not only is she significantly older than Blake, that means that's 2 characters now who are preying upon a girl who was underage at the time.
Yes.
She's like, I wanted you to look at me like that. And I'm like, girl, if you're as old as I think you are, no, you should not.
How old is Adam?
Older than Blake.
How much older than Blake?
Because they don't have timelines.
I know. It's hard to tell. It's so hard to tell. I had assumed older than Blake, but in the sense of 2 years older. 18 v 16. That is the assumption I am having about when the relationship was a thing. But then all of a sudden, previous leader, I'm blanking on her name.
Sienna Khan.
Almost kind of flirting in a way. I couldn't tell. I felt both not abusive, but the way that managers can lead you on. That kind of way. Mm-hmm. Of you might get a promotion, might not, whatever. Yeah. But also you could also be next to me on my throne. I got both, and I thought she was way older. I just can't tell.
I have no idea how old anybody is.
From my understanding, everyone's parents 35 and everyone is 20.
Which would make sense evolutionarily speaking, because it's if you have a world with a constant existential threat, you probably need to keep repopulating at a young age. But we're not feudal Europe here. They're kind of going for steampunk sci-fi fantasy here. So ugh. Yeah. But no, and also Ilya, just for the life of her, refuses to keep the mask on.
I was gonna say, why is this bitch taking this mask on?
Always, all the time. Half the time in Volume 5, she shows up to take it off. It's Why are you even wearing it? And I get maybe it's like she's not fully buying into it. I'm like, you are still in a place where there are security cameras that could see your face. Or like when Sienna stops Adam from killing that guy, she says, Adam. And it's like, y'all haven't come up with code names?
Oh, and I'm like, she cares. She never wears a mask.
Yeah!
Look, Ilya, I love a good dramatic moment. Mm-hmm. Don't get me wrong. That's not the time or place to take the mask off and go.
That is the story of Ilya's character of not the time nor the place. That is the story of her character.
Read the room.
Read the room. Lion Eyes is the worst song Jeff Williams has ever written.
Is that what's playing in the background of it?
Yes. I played it for you once. It was like the really angsty, like, I'm here!
I mean, it fits.
It's terrible. I mean, it's objectively terrible. It fits. But, it doesn't do anything positive for the already, like, really lackluster material it's in service of.
My biggest thought about this, which this isn't even written down.
Okay, cool.
So, there's a lot of thoughts.
So, this is useless.
Back to me. I know all this backstory already for Adam. Like, just assuming. Mm-hmm. No one, like, starts off, like, super intense. They are a little intense. They get praised for it. Mm-hmm. They go even farther. Mm-hmm. If you were to give us a background on Adam, should have gone childhood or something, should have gave us maybe, like, an actual reasoning maybe behind this. But instead, it's giving us stuff that is assumable.
The frustrating thing is, I know the face reveal that he has at the end of Volume 6, which probably would have been the thing to make the character short about.
Oh.
But God forbid they actually, like, show us that.
Yeah.
I don't think they want to do, like, spoilers in a character short that probably not a lot of people watched, and if they did, they probably regretted watching it.
I hate to say this. I can sympathize a little more. Not saying that I do sympathize with him. Mm-hmm. I guess I can understand it more. I have teen white boy gets praised for violence. Common thing. Teen white boy gets praised for violence. They do it more. Yeah. And so it makes sense how he got to be himself. I'm assuming he's like, this is years. They don't tell us. I'm assuming it's years. It seems like years.
Yeah, it's like a few snippets from like a random nebulous point in time where Giro is still in the White Fang, then Giro left the White Fang off screen.
Yeah.
Give me a scene where it's Blake fighting with her parents.
Yes.
And she takes Adam's side and like maybe just show what they thought about this entire relationship. Because, parents always have an opinion about a relationship that they know is not good for their child.
Yeah.
We never really see the extent of their relationship other than him being like, babe, why don't you believe in me anymore? We know that they were nebulously kind of a thing. Maybe, I don't know, just show us something different.
Yeah, I mean, to be fair, I'm impressed we got that. This is the only romantic relationship situation we've seen. Like, that's official.
Okay, yeah.
We see flirtings.
I guess Pyrrha and John count with the kiss, but
but we never see them as a relationship. This is the only thing we get as a relationship. If Rooster Teeth hates giving us actual showcases of relationships.
Don't get me started on RWBY Season 10.
Who hurt these men? I just gotta ask real quick. Between RWBY and this, we never get to see people be romantically happy.
I mean, good lord, Bernie. Where did that even come from with that? I know. And then you added Miles and Carrie, and I'm like, boys! I'm worried about you. It almost feels like a continuation of the writing process from Volume 5 carrying over, of like, the vague outline of a character arc and a story is there. We're not actually watching a character arc or a story. We're just seeing insignificant beats. Each scene that you see is like a little glimpse into what would have been a larger scene or a larger character short. And it's like they had to like cut it all up together and paste it together in like this Frankenstein, this is Adam's backstory. Show me the fight Blake and Adam had that led to her saying, where they're at with this. Like, show me the whole fight, not just a He's like, Blake, come on. I already told you it was an accident. What was an accident? What is happening? Why are you on a rooftop?
Yeah.
Where are you?
It's almost like they're producing their own fan edit of a show.
Yeah.
That should exist, but doesn't.
Oh, God, that's so meta. That is such a perfect way of putting it. And then in general, the last note I had before I, like, chucked my clipboard into the ether was the fact that Sienna is here feels like a retroactive, oh, we're sorry for killing off this really cool character, and we made this character model that we killed off instantly. Let's use her here.
Yeah.
And Ilya just feels like a warm body. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know why Ilya is here.
Yeah. I think voice actor got some voice acting training. Don't get me wrong, not great. My headcanon for this real-life individual is that they got voice acting training from someone who is a voice acting icon in, like, 90s. Because a lot of it sounds like really old English dub for, like, anime.
It's very specific.
It's just the vibe it gets, because it's like, it's not great, does its job. Could be worse. When we know it could be worse for this man.
It's been worse.
It's been worse. Like I said, this is still not great, but it's
time.
different. And I love that some characters say his name, like, Adam. Like, they say it like we jokingly say it.
Adam.
You can say the name Adam, like, without being like, Adam.
Alan.
Adam. Like, oh yeah, hey Adam.
Hey, Adam. Fun fact, Adam used to be my favorite boy's name. Back when I thought I wanted children. Blood. I feel like this is the first time I'm really seeing, like, blood in the aftermath of someone getting killed. Like,
Probably,
people have been killed.
Yeah. That dying huntsman in Volume 4 had a little bit of blood.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
It's a lot going on.
It was incorrect of me to assume that you remembered that far back.
I didn't even remember that Volume 5 was 4 hours.
It was 4
we watched it
miserable,
last week.
grueling hours.
The ears move? That's new, right?
I didn't see that.
Like, Blake, during the confrontation, her ears are all over the place. Her little cat ears, they're, like, going down, they're going up, blah, 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 blah.
I didn't really notice that, but I guess that's a kind of a credit to the fact that they, like, can animate that now.
Yeah. When Adam says they treated us like dogs to a dog faunus, and the dog faunus is like, yeah, how awful. I, like, love you, man. Love you, individual. Love.
Hold up.
Adam, is there something wrong about sharing something with the dog? What facility were they infiltrating with these robots that we've never seen before?
Ambiguously Schnee Dust Company.
Word.
You know what would have been cool? Maybe the assassination of that board member Weiss referred to back in season 1.
That would have been interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Get what I deserve. Funny, a little classic, little,
even though
on the nose.
None of it tracks with, like, how Volume 5 actually ended.
What do you mean?
So at the end of Volume 5, Hazel, Emerald, and Mercury are running off. Adam's waiting in the tree for them, and he kind of jumps down, and you seemingly assume, oh, he's going with them. The end of this short is just him dropping the mast, and he's walking away haggard. Like, when did that happen? Because Lord knows Blake did not rough you up that bad.
Oh. My memory does not last a week, because I was like, yeah, that's how it ended. And I remember the meeting up. I was just like, oh yeah, I remember him, like, shuffling away. But I guess that is incorrect. Love Adam. Adam's a fun character to make fun of.
I love talking about how awful Adam is.
It's so fun.
It's like, there are very few things in the show that are, like, just actively deserving of my ire. He's one of them.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like, everything else I can, like, forgive. But Adam...
Not one of them.
It's hands-on sight with Adam.
His gaslighting, that argument. I'll say I hated that argument, but also loved it because, I mean, that's really what some teenage girls be going through, is that kind of, babe.
It is what some teenage girls go through, and I wish that it was a subject treated with a little bit more delicacy and nuance isn't the right word, but, like, an approach that is more authentic. Mm-hmm. Because it almost feels like they're miming out what they think an abusive and manipulative relationship looks like.
Yeah.
But it's also hard because it just feels like they're also miming out a general romantic relationship.
Mm-hmm.
I would have been fine with almost a subversion here of the Adam character short being more about Blake, because God knows the Black trailer and the Black character short were not about Blake. And the idea that it's like how they met, how they fell for each other.
I'm down to see them happy for a second.
Yeah. It's okay that they were happy for a second, because that happiness is what convinces the person to stay for much longer than they should.
Yeah.
It's like, I would want to see that. It's not a condoning of the relationship. It's a realistic portrayal of what it's like, you know? Being happy for a few minutes does not invalidate all of the pain that's to come, nor does it indicate anything bad about the character for falling for it. Because that's what it almost feels like. It's almost like the show... It's not condemning Blake for it, but it's almost like portraying it in a way as like, oh, she fell for it.
Yeah.
You know? Like, not blaming her, but not also absolving her of it either. Anyway, that's our thoughts.
Yeah.
I'm assuming that was the rest of my notes. We'll see you back here with the first probably 6 or so episodes of Volume 6.
No subtitles.
Ah!
Sorry. You have to make notes.
There aren't. What happened? How did you...
the trailer? Maybe see other DVD has it.
There's 2 discs for some reason. But yeah, no subtitles again. I hate it here. I lied. We only watched 3 episodes. Because episode 3 is a bit of a doozy. I'm gonna start with the first 2 episodes, you know, the normal stuff, and...
Start with the most important thing.
Right.
Subtitles.
It's
amazing.
just the second disc that doesn't have them.
I manifested it.
It is so nice to see the gang back together.
Yes, it's so cute.
I don't know why it made me emotional, but it did.
It was really sweet. And then they immediately tore half the gang apart. It was so fun, so cute.
It's like we had like maybe 5 minutes of everybody together, and now it's like, we'll see you later.
I know, they got all the besties like taken away. Like Blake and Son separated, and now Ruby and Jean are separated.
I miss Sun already.
I miss Sun already. Sorry, I just comprehended that Team Juniper just doesn't know
any of the stuff that we just learned. I love how all of my serotonin that I felt when the gang got back together immediately disappeared when Adam showed up on screen again.
I know. I wrote Adam went full Macbeth.
He really did.
He like kind of went a little crazy and just killed everyone who seemed to doubt him a little.
Just a bit.
What the heck is this animation with Ruby's power?
Oh, you mean her new semblance?
Like
the way it's animated?
Yeah. And not only that, but the fact that it will take over whoever she's carrying. Like, I could deal with it just being Ruby, but the fact that
it showed white for Weiss.
Yeah. Like, what was happening? I put what? Ruby/Weiss. What is that?
Well, you see, it's this very popular ship amongst the... I don't know what it is. It might be like her semblance is evolving. Ren's evolved. Ren's is really cool. Jean is getting better at his. That's cool. Yes. But no, I don't know what the heck that was about.
It's fine. It's whatever. Love Nora. She
literally says stuff right after we have already said it.
And she's always done that, but it was like every time she spoke so far. Something
it's always something, her. Why is it always something?
And we were like, oh God, we're back at the house. She's like, we can finally leave this house.
Burn that house to the ground. I never want to see that house again.
God.
I hate the way that they almost told the first 2 episodes backwards.
I hated this time jumping. It confused me so much, and I feel like it didn't serve anything.
We start on the train fighting the Grimm, then we cut back to the train station, then we cut back to the whole fight against the Grimm, then we crash, then we show them back at the house making the plan to get on the train, and then we show them back in the woods.
Yeah.
Was it just because you knew that you spent an entire volume last year sitting around a house talking about what the plan is? That's what feels like what it did. It's almost like an overcorrection of, let's start with the action, hook them in, reel them back in, and then tell them all of the context backwards, which is honestly kind of worse.
And it just confused me. I was so confused. I was so confused until like, eventually clicked. Can't remember what time change it finally clicked and what was happening. Because I was like, all right, they're traveling. Cool, got it. And then I was like, wait, they're not there yet? Wait, so they traveled to stop at a different bus station and now they're traveling somewhere again? What? I was just so confused. Time jumping can sometimes work, usually in like a detective, like whodunit kind of situation.
That is not the situation,
That's not the situation. It didn't really serve anything.
No. This is just a cool design detail that I like. Weiss's red scarf. It's both, I think, a nod to her grandfather, because, like, in that world of Remnant, he's wearing the red scarf, so it's almost like both her and, like, a pop of bright color on her, because, like, I feel like the blue-gray of her dress kind of indicates more toward what her emotional state was when she was stuck with her father, and now it's, like, you know, has the red for Team RWBY now.
Yeah.
And I think that's really cute and cool.
And I'm pretty sure she didn't have the tights before.
Yeah, the tights are new.
The tights are new.
Because it's really cold out there.
But I think she's the only one that's different, huh?
Yeah, everyone else looks the same. It's funny because then you think, oh, Weiss is the only one that planned ahead.
Yeah.
And it's even funnier when you're like, probably the only one that can afford to plan ahead.
Yeah. Give Oscar something other than a thin peasant shirt. Like, I know what that blouse feels like. It's not.
It is not warm.
It's not warm.
It's so
It
cold.
is meant to be thin for working
Breathable.
on a farm. Please get him some clothes. That is a child being possessed by 3,000-year-old cult leader. Help him.
Just in general, help him. Like,
Please.
poor Oscar. Going back to Sun.
Yes.
Best boy. I love how, A, Neptune tries to hit on the lesbian.
Again.
That's
different
twice
lesbian.
now. I also love how he has the wrong view of approaching it. He's like, it just feels like you're letting her go. And he's like, it was never about
Yeah.
that. And I'm like, that is why he is the best boy.
Yeah. Also, the leader. Like, I know I should have known this, but I had no idea he was the leader. That man is not the leader.
It's Team Sun. Of course Team Sun is led by Sun.
I know. He should not be with love. Of course, I don't know personalities of any of his other teammates.
Because we never see them.
But that man has not cared about his teammates at all.
No.
But does show that he's a better team leader than someone like Neptune by saying it was never about that.
Right. They're from Mistral at the school.
Mm-hmm.
I think Leo just looked at all of them and said, Sun is the only one with a brain cell, so we'll pick him. I'm imagining all the initiations of now all the other teams, like how they put them together, because Oz has this stupid little chess RPG roleplay thing going on in a forest.
Mm-hmm.
What was Mistral's? What was Leo like? He just looked at these 4 boys and was like, oh.
Wait. So their school was the one they were at last season?
Yes.
Why was Sun never like, well, back to my old stomping grounds? Like, I know he's from the desert, so it's not like his real
He
old
only
stomping.
ever acts like he's from the desert, and
Yeah.
not like he didn't go to school in Mistral.
Is that why Neptune shows up?
Yes. Where was he during any of this?
Yeah.
I'm assuming spring break. It gets worse the more you think about it. I really like the opening this volume. It's my favorite of the 3 in the new animated engine.
Mm-hmm.
Volume 5 sucked. We all know that. Volume 4 was alright, but it was kind of slow. This one had cool shots, and the music was pretty dope.
Yeah, there was the Adam jump scare and the window, and then we actually see Adam. But, and of course, most importantly, Ren and Nora hugging each other. Thank God. They're like practically official now.
But not really.
Shout out to Nora, imagining her crush on the beach. She's so cute. She's so real.
What was nice is that Team Juniper felt distinct again.
Mm-hmm.
Like, Jean was Jean, Nora was Nora, and Ren was Ren. Mm-hmm. Like, I mentioned to you earlier that it was like, Volume 5, it felt like they were one indistinguishable person who anyone could have said those lines.
Yeah.
Where it's like, Ren didn't feel like too over-expositionally. Jean felt more back to his normal self, and Nora was the one saying all the funny stuff, and it works. It's like they feel complete and individual again.
Well, they'll never be a complete.
Don't talk about Pyrrha right now. I'm not in a state where I can talk about Pyrrha right now. I'm never in a state where I can talk about Pyrrha.
I liked the bunk beds throwback.
Bunk bed!
on the bus. Train?
It's a train.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's really cute. It's really sweet. And I like how immediately Yang calls Blake out for trying to, like, overcorrect, overhelp, or whatever. I'm like, thank God we don't have to deal. Like, I mean, I don't know yet if we're gonna have to deal with that, because there is only 5 minutes of seeing our main characters.
I think we have a little bit of dealing with it to deal with.
That's fine. It's okay. It's
not like
could have
it's
been
gonna...
worse.
Yeah. Well, it's kind of funny because, like, Yang's like, yo, we'll be chill, and then Ruby and Weiss kind of pop in or like... Because I feel like I've both been the Yang and I've been the Ruby and Weiss, you know, in a situation where, like, yo, it's chill. It's not really chill, but it's chill. I do have some lingering resentments here, but I'm trying to move forward. And then you also look on and are like, are we all okay?
Yeah.
Are we okay? Please say we're okay.
I love it, though. Yang's like, we're not 100% chill, but we will be.
Yeah.
Like, it's not something you need to, like, constantly be making up for. It's something that we will discuss as it goes.
Yeah.
And that is
mature.
That is so 20-year-old of her.
Stop asking how old they are. We don't know. Like, I don't know. You don't know. The collective we, I don't know.
Crow classed it up a little bit with a martini instead of a flask for a second.
R.I.P. that martini.
Yeah. That's my favorite ship so far.
Crow and the martini.
Are Dudley and Dee, like, Tweedledum and Tweedledee? That was so cute. Going back to the roots of easily noticeable fairy tale inspiration.
Yes, we haven't gotten that in... Well, I mean, kind of with Lionheart, but we didn't get really any new characters last volume.
Yeah.
Other than Vernal, who was obviously just maiden bait.
I did say, I believe it was D, his weapon was so Cardinal vibes. Mm-hmm. And I was like, makes me kind of miss them.
Yeah, I wonder what they're getting up to.
I know. Did they survive?
I don't know. I kind of hope they did.
I hope they did. The GSA needs to be alive and well.
I think the only member of Team Cardinal we saw during the Fall of Beacon was Carden, and he was out with Crow and Glinda, and then Ironwood showed up shirtless, and he was like...
Yes, icon.
As it should be.
Are we seeing James again? Because Crow sent that letter.
I don't think he's in this volume.
I miss him.
I miss him too. I miss Ironwood, which is a funny thing, because, like, I would not have said that when I first watched
I
this.
know! Now he's, like, my cartoon crush.
Stop. Stop. Maria.
She's cute.
Maria.
I just met a girl named Maria.
I still need to make you watch the remake of that. It's terrible.
I'm sad that it's terrible.
I need you to suffer with me.
Should have known it's gonna be terrible with the who cast as the male lead. But
yeah, of all the Romeo and Juliet similarities to, like, make sure that we're adaptationally correct, the age difference was not something I was hoping for.
Especially with someone who has a certain kind of past. Anyways, I'm so worried for Weiss to try to go back to Atlas. This poor girl does not need to go to the home of her trauma.
She really doesn't. And it's funny because, like, she's sassy again and kind of bitchy at the thought of going back. Mm-hmm. And it's like we got so used to Sweet Weiss that we remembered, like, yeah, she's prickly for a reason. Yeah. Like, it's a defense mechanism. Love her. Everything she says is great, though. She's so great. Every time there's a shot of the four girls, my eyes drift toward Weiss because I want to see what's on her face. Yes. Like, she has the best expressions where she's like... They just do the best job with her. They do. Which is crazy because I feel like they didn't want to at first. It just kind of ended up that way. Well, I think they course-corrected from very, very racist girl to, like, the only member of the core cast I'm actively rooting for. Or I'm like, Yang is chill. I love when she winks at Weiss with the, I think we take the bounty anyway. That's great. But otherwise, I'm like, I don't care about anybody but her. Mm-hmm. It's so funny how that happened. Yeah. And I remembered that happening the first time around. And I still don't really know how that happened. Maybe it's like, after Jacques slaps her, it's like... all bets are off for me mentally. It's like, she actively went out of her way to leave an abusive situation to find her found family. Mm-hmm. That's more than I can say for some of these other girls. I know. It's frustrating. I wish Cinder was dead. Why is she back? Kill her. To torture us. I do not care. I don't care. Just leave her to drown.
And I just love how much hate she has for these children.
It's so funny.
I think it's so funny. She seeks someone out. She's like, find these 17 to 25-year-olds for me. Destroy them.
A crime lord. Like, these are not hard-to-find children. They're on the news every other week, because everywhere they go, mass destruction and tragedy happens. If I were the authorities or a random person, I'd be like, I wonder if these kids have anything to do with what keeps happening to our world. Miss Malachite is the mother of Melanie and Milsha? Question mark? I still don't know how genetics work in this world.
Neither do they.
Amen. The cinematography is back on par with Volume 4.
Well, we'll say it's good. There are good shots.
Yes.
There's sometimes maybe too many
Yeah.
choice shots.
Like that close-up of Ilya's feet when she goes to hug Blake. Yeah. Like, why was that?
Really, that whole section, because even Blake and Son's goodbye seemed a little overdone.
Yes, like over-edited.
Yeah. But still, I'm like willing to take those awkward shots in order to get some of these really cool ones.
Right. Yeah, okay, you're right. Volume 4 still has the best cinematography, but this was better than last volume. Everything is mostly
I'm loving this already.
Better than last volume.
Even considering what we haven't talked about yet, I'm loving this so much more than last volume.
Because it's engaging. It's, I don't like parts of it, but it's engaging in my dislike. Volume 5 just slowly drained me of my will to live. I enjoy the Ozpin roast leading into the Jin question, because it's like, take this man to task for being the cult leader that he is.
Yeah, and
And Crow, like, kind of having to sit back and watches the girls take over the situation.
Yeah. Yeah, and I love Ruby being like, you taught me to love humanity, almost. I mean, she always has, but he really was like a enforcer of this. And she's like, but you hate it, and that's okay? Question mark? Mouth wide open whenever we see Oscar fight for control again. I mean, already, I was like, ooh, Oz is showing his true colors now. Well, we've been knew about him being crazy cult leader.
We had him pegged from volume 1.
But for everyone else, it's like, ooh, and then you see him struggle and Oscar, like, cry.
This poor boy.
This poor boy. He's freezing to death. He has no control over his body. Like, help him.
Help him, please.
Titty jump scare. I love seeing Crow look away.
That's so real of him.
I was like, no one else even, like, was like...
The other ones are all just like...
What is happening? And Crow immediately, he's like, that's a naked woman. That's a naked woman. Cannot see that.
See, this is why we love Crow.
Yes. His Miss Martini.
Is it time?
Yeah, I guess.
How do you even pick a point to start?
Ozpin is originally a man of color. Surprised. He has a white man energy, and we met him as a white man. So, that was surprising for me.
I have so much to say about it, but I don't know how to articulate any of it.
Okay. Do you want to say my random thoughts?
Yeah, that'll help us.
Gods are faunuses.
Yeah.
That was really cool to see. I mean, my overall thoughts on the whole thing is that I'm not surprised. I expected them, Salem and Oz, to have either been brother, sister, or lovers. I don't love that the maidens are their children. I don't love knowing that they are parents outside of Salem birthing Grimm on a regular basis. Which I know she doesn't actually. Comes from the pit or whatever.
She can control them, though.
But she can control it. Anyways, I think she births them. But it's weird to think that they were ever parents at one point. Would have liked the fairy tale of the maidens to be a little more regal. In the sense of, like, it was randomly meeting young women of humanity that had some of the best characteristics of it. And rewarding that.
Instead of being like, these are like my dead daughters.
Yeah.
Magic!
Yeah.
They encourage him to come
with humanity.
Back out into the world.
I think that would have been cuter.
The whole story is bland.
Yeah.
It's like unseasoned chicken. Mm-hmm. It's edible. I don't want to eat it.
Mm-hmm.
So much of it has to be told to us And you can do as many blue puffs of smoke. I still have to listen to Jin's narration of very key moments. I'm living through the Adam short, but for 30 minutes this time. That could have been a whole volume in and of itself, is the trials and tribulations of these two characters, because that's a lot of pretense for what currently is.
I think it could have been really more of a fairy tale. I think it could have been cut down.
Yep.
A lot of what this backstory is something that has been used before in other medias. And so it's almost one of those things that we don't need it again. Even, like, I still like it. I still like this cliche of, like, the lovers and, like, gods tear them apart, whatever, death, whole thing. I like it cliche for a reason. It works. The first things that come to mind is her over telling us about how she went to the first god and then traveled again and then went to the second one and then argued again. The thing that comes to mind is, like, in a fairy tale, that could have been 3 sentences max, and it's of maybe, like, the gods coming to her. Typically that's what gods do. Fuck the gods. Oh, but frick the gods.
They're so awful, and it's like, that's kind of the point. Like, you can tell that they're not supposed to be good. Yeah, I can see why Salem hates them. It's hard for me to sympathize with the creator in a creation versus creator narrative. Because the creation is only made in the image of the creator, so everything that it does is the fault of the creator, who was in of itself originally flawed. So it's like, oh, why did this thing I make rebel against me? It's like parents being shocked that their kid doesn't agree with them on everything. It's just, and they're shocked at that. It's frustrating. And they're also petulant, that they're like, I make man, I take a man away. I make man, I take man away. And it's kind of funny. It's like you're watching two brothers literally fight over a toy. And I guess that's kind of like the thing, that they're all playthings. But it's like, yeah, look, you can just walk on up and talk to God.
Yeah, I thought, like, what she said, it's also where he lived. I'm like, what do you mean that he lives at his own shrine? What? And yeah, she just pulled up, and she was like, raise the dead.
And he's like, no.
And she just pulls up to the other one. She's like, raise the dead. And he's like, sure.
Yes.
And then he cracks his back.
Immortality is such a whack punishment, because that means no matter what, there is an afterlife. Because they're like, you can't be with him now. Like, the reason that you're immortal is because you can't be with him. AKA, afterlife. He literally says, I would rather return to the afterlife to be with Salem. Because, you know, I've been talking a lot about this show should be an existentialist narrative, wants to be an existentialist narrative, or maybe doesn't know it wants to be an existentialist narrative, but, you know, has the same calling cards of it. It is very hard to actually think of a reason to fight when, no matter what, there is a safety net waiting for you. Like, hey, Pyrrha's fine! She died, but she's fine! You can't just casually drop that there's an afterlife and then not make me think, why are we even here then? And I'm not saying that it invalidates what we're doing here, but it just... Ugh!
So what really upset me was their whole thing is that you need to learn your lesson. It's like, you need to learn about this and that and whatever. I'm like, cool. If you wanted her to learn these things as gods, maybe you shouldn't have let her be locked up in a tower her whole life. She's not going to have any concept of these things. She has no socialization skills. I'm sorry, Ozzy, but I think that's why she fell in love with you. You're the first person she's ever met.
No, I'm so frustrated at the idea that they're like, oh, humanity can't be divided. They were united against you, because you suck.
And what do you mean that they were great before Salem led the whole thing? Her parents were locking her up in a tower. Clearly, things were not all great already. Humanity already had all its flaws.
You already had your warring kingdoms. It's like, what's this whole kumbaya?
Yeah.
Why are we singing kumbaya? Why does that matter to the gods who literally created them to just be like, let's have some fun? None of it makes sense. I liked it better when it was just Crow telling them the story of these two gods by a campfire and being like, they kind of left us with a weird situation, and we kind of have to make the best with it. I like that. I don't care about Salem. She's such a flat character, and part of that is she can't be well developed in the 30 minutes they gave her. Mm-hmm. But also, man shows up to save her. I'm in love with you. Man dies. Her entire life is getting him back. And it is because she was locked up in a tower and has no concept of making connections outside of it. But now we know, like, the whole ending of the series is her gonna be like, oh, I understand why death is important now. Because, you know, the whole dramatic reveal of how do I defeat Salem? You can't. Mm-hmm. It's like, yeah, I understand why that would disillusion all of the students that you've tricked into joining this stupid cult. Mm-hmm. But I don't really see why that's shocking to him. Because, like, they both have their own deals with the gods. And why does Ozma care about what the God of Light told him to do anyway? Yeah, sure, he's God, but you don't have to do what he says. She's not wrong. Mm-hmm. I don't love the whole, yeah, let's just conquer humanity thing. That's not a great thing to do, objectively. But, like, she's also not wrong in that it's like, look, we don't have to worry about calling them back. Why do we need them back? Life wasn't great when they were here anyway. Yeah. Why do we? Because we need magic? We have dust, we have crystals, we have semblances. We're fine. We're making do.
And they still have magic.
Yeah. If magic was such an important thing, just have more children.
Yeah. If this was done in a cool art style, I would defend it more. Why is this like the first time we're getting lore info without a fun little art style? It's like cool, they're all on their, you know, Avatar Roku journey. But it could have looked pretty.
Oh my god, this is like the Avatar Roku journey.
It is.
Oh my god. It's just Avatar all the way down!
What has Oz been hiding from us?
And he's like, no!
Just to find out that
life is pointless?
I was gonna say just to find out that he has an ex. But yeah, that too.
Oz was really ashamed of that body count, okay.
I don't know which one you mean. He's killed a lot of people in that backstory.
Can I complain about the fact that, like, it almost seems like Salem's design is more porcelain dollified? Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. To, like, make it, like, okay that he's with her when she's like that. Mm-hmm. She does not have to be pretty coming out of the Grim Pool. It's okay that she would have the veins.
Yeah. I just want to get back to the characters I care about.
Back at it?
Yeah, I mean, are there any more of these kind of things? Do you know?
30-minute backstories that drain your soul and hope? I don't think so.
Yeah, then let's go back.
So that actually felt like we watched RWBY this time.
Yeah. Shout out to Crow for beating Ozpin up. Poor Oscar.
That is a child. That is my note. I'm like, that is a child. It is not his fault.
We both screamed at the line, meeting you was the worst luck of my life. Amazing.
Whoever wrote that line, thank you. Beautiful. Can you imagine the thoughts that he's going through right now? Like, Raven was right.
Yeah.
Like, the idea that it was all for nothing. He threw his entire life's purpose into this. Like, A, Raven was right. B, Summer died for nothing. Mm-hmm. C, now I've dragged my nieces into this nothing.
Yeah. He was the one that gave his life purpose.
Yep.
And now
he has no purpose.
No, he has no purpose.
Poor man.
Doesn't it sound like something just turned off?
That was my dad's computer.
Okay. It was like, is my brain finally shutting down for sure?
Don't shut down. Don't leave me yet. We have to make it through volume 7.
I have to finish RWBY.
You have to finish RWBY with me. No one else understands this.
He really shuts down during this arc in a way that would have been happening with or without this new Grimm we're introduced to.
Right.
And I support it. I want him to, of course, you know, not be drinking as much. I want him to feel better. That man deserves a little tantrum.
He does. Like, he needs a hug. He needs a break. He gets a hug. He's one of the few characters where we say, oh, they need a hug, and he got a hug.
He got it.
So at least he has that going for him.
Yeah.
Everything else, his life is a lie. Everyone he loves has wasted their lives in the vain attempt of doing something that was pointless.
Whenever the tire went flat, he was like, I can't. And he just walks away and sits on the ground.
He's like,
He literally takes a step back.
He's like, you know what? No. Why do I even bother?
And then poor Maria, she doesn't know, but she's like, y'all people are really a beacon for bad luck.
And he's
It's
like,
double whammy, saying beacon, and then saying beacon for bad luck. Oh, this poor man.
I still hate Tyrion. He's just written to be a scary psychopath, and there's nothing to it. Like the scene where he, like, intentionally cuts his cheek with Emerald's weapon.
Okay, I was wondering what had just happened. So I was like, I see he's bleeding now, but I didn't even, like,
Register that?
register that he was that
He intentionally was just
close.
like...
it was weird.
Yeah. Just like, oh,
He's weird. I hate
he's
him.
a macacist.
He's a
massive-
macadamia nut.
Emerald and Mercury need to run. Just, like,
I know.
run.
Hazel-
Cinder was already a bad reason to be there. Now you have no reason to be there. Run in the other direction.
I'm like, Hazel just needs to take him and go.
Really, like, the entire dynamic of Salem's crew still doesn't make much sense to me. Hazel should only want Ozpin dead. He should not want the total destruction of humanity, especially
Yeah.
because he has such a big heart. Like, he
Yeah.
automatically takes these children under his wing. He helps Oscar buy a train ticket. I get Tyrion being like, ooh, I'm all into this.
Yeah.
What's Watt's skin in the game? Half of her lackeys don't make sense to me.
Especially because we're not given a reason on why they follow. There's no gain for them. And that's usually how you get your lackeys, is that you promise them that they'll be, like, there with you.
Right. Well, the things that she's promising are so vague and nebulous that it's like, I wouldn't follow anybody for that.
Yeah.
I'd follow me, and primarily me. Hazel could have just strolled up and killed Oz whenever he wanted.
Yeah.
It's frustrating, especially because they were introduced so much later than Emerald, Cinder, and Mercury, and we already know so little about Emerald, Cinder, and Mercury, that it's frustrating
Yeah.
to deal with these characters.
Her temper tantrum got to me when she freaking breaks the glass of her own palace. Because I'm just like, and everyone just, like, leaves and lets her do it.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, I don't want to follow this bitch.
Oh.
Like, I already, like, won it.
Yeah.
But it's like, I don't know. It just seems weird. I need Emerald and Mercury to get away from this.
They do. Just go for ice cream, maybe rethink their life choices a little bit. The neophyte! Delightfully choreographed.
So cute.
I love it. She's finally confirmed as mute, even though I don't know why it took them 4 volumes to do that. So sassy. Like, let's talk. Right.
Right. I love having the hat. She has green eyeshadow now.
Weird.
I don't hate it. It's a little fun.
It's not that it's not fun, it just doesn't really go with the color palette.
I wish she had an outfit change.
Yeah.
I like, of course, the hat's there. Thank God. Love it. Cute.
But the hat doesn't go with anything either.
Doesn't go with anything, which I kind of find okay, because I wouldn't want her to lose, like, her core aspects of her character design.
I feel like Cinder holds the record for most outfit changes.
Probably, especially since she just got a new outfit.
Yes.
I guess she blames Ruby, even though definitely
Why would
Ruby
you
was not winning
trust
that fight.
Cinder? Like, why would you trust Cinder? And again, they still won't confirm what their relationship was. She's like, I didn't kill your boss. Why would you automatically believe Cinder being like, hey, we both want Ruby dead? And it's like, she's clearly fighting you. Because the reason Roman was on that airship was because of you.
Yeah.
Ruby is not at fault for him being on the airship.
He would not. He was originally just crime lord of petty criminals.
Yes.
Right? Like, he would not have gone this far without,
Being roped into a larger scheme.
Yeah.
Like, that is Cinder's fault.
Yeah.
Even if Ruby was there when he died, it's not like she killed him. He just got eaten alive. Hat and all. She must have just bought a new hat.
Yeah. I guess he probably had, like, extras at their base. He probably had, like, a room dedicated to hats. It's fine.
We should have gotten Nezuko alone with Cinder. They both have eye scars.
Maybe I would have liked her a little more.
Yeah, it would have been something to cling on to. Yeah. There's nothing there to like.
Yeah.
Like, even with Little Miss Malachite, she's insufferable, where she's like, I used to be afraid of spiders. You want to know what I did? Learn to kill them. And it's like...
Sorry, I forgot about that. Her so funny.
She and Adam would get along so so
Right?
well in terms of just, like, who can be the bigger edgelord.
They're both just constantly trying to gaslight each other. Manipulate each other. I ship it. I ship that toxic, crazy couple.
We've solved it. We have
We've
fixed
solved it.
RWBY.
Their color schemes can go together.
Yes, the reds and the blacks with little bits of gold for Cinder. It's great. It's perfect. So Brunswick Farms.
Yeah, this is such a darker season.
Yes.
And fortunate to say, the Adam trailer prepared me for that. With the blood. Like, for me, that signified a lot.
I mean, if nothing else, it did signify that. It did one thing right.
It did one thing.
Music's also back to popping off again. God, poor Weiss discovering the body. Like, I feel like that should count on the Weiss getting her shit rocked counter in terms of, like, instead of getting punched physically, she got punched emotionally and mentally.
Yeah.
Like, just her with the blanket.
I know. It's so long.
I was just like, this poor child.
I know.
But no, it was a really good self-reflective moment of, like, you know, hey, yeah, why are we here?
Mm-hmm.
It reflects their emotional and mental states of, like, the pointlessness of it all. And, you know, you've got little scenes where you've got Yang and Blake in the shed, and Blake's still not really knowing what to do or how to handle Yang.
Yeah.
And Yang's not making it easier on her.
Yeah. The protect line.
And that being the thing that sets Yang off.
Yeah.
And Blake's like, what'd I do?
They'll get their talk soon.
I'm sure.
I hope. I mean, I know they have to. Eventually. Figure things out.
RWBY is the only one who is still into the mission.
Mm-hmm.
Which I like it, but it also shows how single-mindedly convicted she is about this. Which almost is like... I would say it's concerning in the terms of just like, really? You didn't have a second of like... to just pause and be like, wow. Kind of want to give up here.
Yeah.
I mean, I say that.
She did.
She did, actually. She did. And then she got, like, jolted out of it again.
Yeah. When she saw the eyes, and she's like, wait, I wasn't actually gonna do it. She's like, no, I didn't want to!
Well, it's almost funny where Yang's like, take years for the Grimm to find it. The Grimm. Drop it! Just drop it! Any minute now!
Their claws.
That's creepy when it's reaching down to get Blake. The fact that Blake is the first one to just completely give up, of the four. Crow gave up, like, with the tire.
Yeah.
That was Crow's breaking point. But, like, of the four, it's Blake who gave up first.
She's like, it's fine. I'll lay here.
It's fine. The way that their pupils dilate while they're outside, just, like, showing how tired they are, it's, like, really cool animation details like that.
Yeah.
And I finally did notice the ears moving, like you pointed out.
Silver eyes?
Silver eyes. They finally kind of got a mini explanation.
Well. Oh, like the source of it? Like the love?
Yeah, like the love, the
I would
happiness,
say, like,
the purity.
Still don't quite know how it fits in with the lore of the world.
Yeah, I think that does get explained in the next
I was
few
to
episodes.
say, I feel like it's going to explain.
I feel like they're in a lore-explaining mood.
They're finally like, all right, we have decided what everything means now.
Yes, it
And
only
we
took
shall
us
let you know.
6 seasons. And, like, now's a good time to finally tell you what the heck's actually going on.
I love the creepy vibes overall. It's just fun and different.
It was different. I like, yeah, it's a good way of putting it. It's something different.
I used to say this all the time about RWBY. It's very anime. Like, having, like, almost like your spooky episode. Where it's, like, something's, like, off.
Yeah.
And then, like, for a second, like, thought it was gonna be Ghost or something. I was like, I wouldn't be surprised if they introduced Ghost. But then to find out, like, it's Grimm, as per usual. But...
Well, you say that, like, Volume 5 had a significant absence of Grimm.
Yeah. And now we're getting so many... Hi, buddy. So many new ones. I did hate Maria throwing away the book. So for me, I'm just like, you don't throw away first-person documentation of history and more information about Grimm. This, like, first-handed account of the effects of this Grimm. I'm like, there's so little known about Grimm that's such valuable information. What are these professors learning and their PhD schools if not this?
She chucked it like I chucked that clipboard.
Look, I was history major for 1 quarter. It just really hurt me.
Well, I'm a history minor and it hurt me. That is a speed reader, because she made it through 8 volumes in one night.
I love, like, we see her pick up, like, volume 1, and then we come back to her, and she's on volume 3.
And the one she chucks out is 8.
She read faster than we watched the show.
She really did.
I said apathy is me waking up in the morning. It's like the slow moving, the
jaw half open.
Yes. My only other note is I kind of also noticed this earlier too. This feels like, I know I just compared this to like classic anime thing. Mm-hmm. Feels a lot more video game than anime. Like there's even a section where it was first person when they were running in the tunnel. Mm-hmm. I don't know, it's like some of their movements too, some of the, I don't know, it's just like, this seems like a video game.
RWBY's semblances move fast.
Yeah. Move fast.
I mean, I get that they're in a situation of high stress, but I think part of their huntsman training should be when to apply your semblance in a situation of high stress. Pretty solid arc.
Yeah.
Theoretically, we should be able to go 7 to the end of the volume this time, instead of having to stop for lore purposes. So.
All right, we'll see how that goes.
Yes, we will. All right, we're back. No major lore dumps to ruin our day. I just think it's so funny how, like, half of the cast is constantly having to be retold what the plot is over and over and over again.
It's funny.
Like, Team Junior had to be told it, and then Neo had to be told it. It's just very funny to me that they're in a constant state of, like...
Here's the updates.
So here's the updates. So here's the tea. And they're all just like... If it was a lot for us to sit through, like, 30 minutes worth, imagine how they had to talk them through... So Salem was like a person. We're on our second go-around of humanity. Also, Oz is reincarnating as a divine order from God. And I would love to know what Cinder's version of that is to telling Neo.
Yeah.
I would love to know what Salem's perspective is on, like, what happened.
Sorry, yeah, does she, like, give them their background? Like, all right, in order to be my new lackey... Here's the tea.
So there was this guy. What would Cinder and Salem's relationship actually be? Because if, like, you know, Cinder is one of the maidens, and that's, like, one of her metaphorical daughters, how does Salem feel about that? As, like, a perversion of their memories? Or as, like, if I collect this child and I raise her in my image, will I be reclaiming something that I once had?
Yeah.
But we don't get that, because we don't know anything about these villains! I'm just hoping she's waiting to stab Cinder in the back.
That'd be cool.
Because that'd be cool. It would indicate a much more intelligent character than what it seems to be like, oh, okay, not your fault? Cool. It's all her fault!
Yeah. I do kind of like them as a duo.
Yeah,
like,
I unfortunately
because they're
agree.
both such, like, feminine badasses. Mm-hmm. They both change their outfits.
They go shopping together. Bro. Wouldn't it have been so funny if they'd never met Oscar and all 3 of them were in the clothing store together at the same time? Just like, oh, do you think this looks good? And Oscar goes, you look great. Neo would have had no idea who he was. It would have worked.
Yes.
That's my headcanon now. I also love how he's like, grand existential crises, shopping spree.
With whose money?
That is so iconic of him.
I love him.
I love his new fit.
I'm so happy he finally got appropriate clothes. That man has been freezing. He's been so cold, and now he has a little coat. I wish he didn't go with green, because that's Ozzy's color.
Well, I think he's surrendering to the inevitable. I hate how he's just like, well, I thought about it, and I guess one day I'll stop being me, but I'll enjoy what I have. And I'm like, you are 14.
So
you are unreasonably calm about all of this. Confirmed age. He is definitely 14.
Yes.
He is the only
14-year-old
farmhand. He is the only one who we know is exactly this age.
So Grim Reaper's cool.
Yeah.
That was really cool. I loved the crocodile. So cute. That's one thing I've noticed with this volume is they are going back to their roots.
Yes.
There's a lot of funny bits. So cute.
Or even, like, the little old lady that lives in the shoe.
Yes.
Cordovan is so camp, and I'm kind of, like, every other line I was like, I'm into this, I'm not into this, I'm into this, I'm not into this. It did give me Volume 1 vibes in terms of just, like, we are just hamming it up, and honestly, like, ultimately, I had fun with it, you know?
It was so fun.
Tiny little fascist.
I know. So cute. So racist.
So racist. I think that's the most actively racist
I know.
a character has been on the show is her.
I loved Weiss being like, what does that mean? Weiss, you said practically the same thing. With love.
You said something worse. You said worse. I retract my
lamppost? This trash can? A trash can?
I rescind my statement. Weiss is still the most racist character we've seen on the show.
I love the little soldiers. Hilarious. And then they're like, a baby crying.
We must take care of it.
And then do handstands and funny
so
faces.
Cute.
I love
it.
And Yang's like, can you not? I love it.
That is the only child I would ever like. He is so perfect.
So cute.
He is cute. He is happy. He is...
His semblance. He's just screaming, whining. He's such a drama queen.
He's so... I
can see that runs in the Arc family. Being a little dramatic.
I love Terracotta and Saffron Arc. I love them. It's such a refreshing perspective to have, like, actual civilians who want nothing to do with the fighting part, but view things as like a, well, you could stay here, and they've built a home, and they have a beautiful backyard, and one of them just has a job working at a communications tower and has work problems that she has to get phone calls about. That felt so
cute, so real.
Lived in and real, and we've literally been complaining about we have not seen any romantic relationships on the show, and then they feed us this delicious content of happily married women.
My comment was gay. I love them, and they're in San Francisco. Congratulations! It's so cute.
It took me like 5 episodes to realize this was a San Francisco knockoff.
I literally, the first time they showed it, I said, "Oh, Charlie." And then they really hammered it down with, like, showing us the bridge and Godzilla in the background, and that's, yeah. That's what made it click for me. I'm a little slow with stuff like that. But it was fun. I really liked it. I liked that we got to see a place that felt culturally unique, because you've got influences from both kingdoms. And getting to see one of Jean's sisters.
Yes!
And that picture. So cute.
Help.
Pigtails. It's adorable. And I just loved finally meeting one of the sisters. Mm-hmm. She's like, oh, we're the only two that, left home following in the steps of big sister. And he's like, no, not at all. So obviously following the steps of his big sister.
I love it. I just
so
love
sweet.
it. And you know what? I feel like that scratches the itch of, like, the other siblings. I don't really need to know,
Oh, I want to meet them all.
Oh, God. No, there looked like there was a pair of twins in there, and I'm, like, terrified.
Crazy.
I'm terrified of the twins.
I want everyone to go to Jean's home. Mm-hmm. That's what I think would be really cute. Because there's... From all the homey characters, we've already been there. We've also been to Weiss's home. Jean is such a family character, because that's how we're introduced with him. And at least this time rewatching it, it sticks with me from that first time introduction, season 1. So I would really want to go to his home, see his family.
Coming back to your thing about the Grim Reaper, I love how it basically, the lineage is like, Maria's weapon is basically like the grandparent of Cress and Rose, because Crow was inspired by Maria, and RWBY was inspired by Crow.
I know, and so...
Like, that's so cool.
During that scene, I was like... It's like, oh, Crow, is this why your weapon's a scythe? And he's like, you inspired my weapon. I'm like, this is great. This is good storytelling, because I can tell what's gonna happen, and I see the reasoning behind it.
You also immediately knew Godzilla was gonna show up.
I did.
I
did. I just saw, like, the big water, and now that I know they're a water grim, Like, there's gonna be Godzilla.
The way that you were like, are they gonna kill Adam? And then 2 seconds later,
They killed a man. They are murderers. Like, officially human killers. Which I understand.
It was self-defense.
They wouldn't... I don't believe they should go to prison for it or anything. I just was not expecting 2 of our 4 leads to kill a man.
It's a bit off-putting, yeah. And what sucks is that it's been so fun hating Adam. We managed to talk 20 minutes about the Adam character short that was like 3 minutes. And then comparatively, we only talked about the first 3 episodes for 35 minutes. Like, we talked about the Adam short proportionally longer than anything else in the volume. Because we just love talking about how much Adam sucks. And now he dies, and it's like, his voice actor finally was getting tolerable, if not a little good.
Kind of good.
And you get the design reveal of the cattle brand across his eye from the Schnee Dust Company. And the fact that one of his eyes is blue, which kind of says a lot in terms of design of an otherwise, character clothed solely in stark blacks and reds. And it kind of points to a time when, yeah, he had wider eyes, but like literally part of it was burned out of him. When he's chasing Blake through the forest and he's like, are you just gonna throw all of our memories away? And it's like, what memories,
Adam? What memories?
We know nothing about your relationship. Why didn't we get them kind of falling for each other a little bit? Like, again, like I said, it doesn't invalidate the fact that he's an abusive asshat. But it, like, would have
made more sense.
It would have made something a little bit more easier to sympathize with.
Part of me does feel for this character.
Yeah.
A little bit. Like,
finally.
Finally.
And now he's dead. Like, all I wanted was for Adam to die, and now he's dead, and I'm mad.
Yeah. I think we should have seen him get branded in his character shorts. It didn't need to be a shock for us. You would get that shock with the character short. I mean, that'd still be like, oh, whoa.
Well, it doesn't have to be like a plot twist, and that's what drives me nuts about sometimes how they write and how they reveal information is because they're like, oh, we can't give away the plot twist. And it's like, if your story relies solely on shock value plot twists, it's not substantive. It's very hard to rewatch. Like, the Adam character trailer has no rewatch value. It's just a collection of vignettes that we already kind of were able to ascertain from context clues. You show a little boy running around with kind of reddish-brown hair with blue eyes, we wouldn't have immediately assumed Adam.
Yeah.
Because we wouldn't have never seen his face. It would have been really cool. Or, maybe he and Blake were childhood friends or stuff like that. And she was there
That
for
is
it.
what I was thinking. I was like, it should have been... Continue.
No, like, you basically, like, imagine if she was there and saw it, and so some of it was, like, maybe guilt.
There is such an immediate anger in him and, like, violent tendencies from when we're introduced to him in his trailer that it's so hard for me to see Blake loving the violent aspect. I could see loving the hatred. It's because she was also that angry at the world.
Yep.
I think it would make more sense if they had known each other when they were younger and everything.
Yeah.
It would have clicked more. And it would make his feelings being that intense a little more understandable.
Comprehensible.
Yeah.
Because, like, otherwise...
And hers, too.
Right. Because neither of them, I'm like, I see nothing that she would have latched onto, and I don't see anything that he would have latched onto.
Oh, and it would have been so cute with little Ilya there, too. Like, they were all a love triangle. I would have supported childhood one where they don't actually comprehend their emotions. Ooh. Get us in the writer's room.
Honestly. Or don't. I don't know. They deal with a lot of unnecessary harassment. I am weak-minded in that regard. Some of my memories of, like, the fan reactions to stuff are stronger than my memories of my own reactions to stuff. Like, I remember the response to Adam's death was so divisive that I don't think the fandom ever fully recovered. Because you had your hardcore Adam stans who thought he could have been the most interesting character ever. And then you had the hardcore Adam haters who were like, good riddance, ding dong, the witch is dead. And the idea that it's just like the writers either completely wasted an opportunity or the writers did the most brilliant thing ever. And it's like, it was neither. That's just been the weirdest thing about revisiting this entire show, is completely recontextualizing how I feel about entire sections of stuff. Because, like, I feel sadder about Adam's death now than I did back then, but I hate the Salem backstory more than I did back then. It's like these weird trade-offs where my emotions have changed. And we were talking about this a little bit in between filming breaks, is that, like, our feelings toward Ozpin are so totally different this time around. Is like, you know, season 1, immediate red flags go off for us this time. But when we were 13 and 14, we were like, naturally, of course, we trust everything this man is saying. I'm sure he has a plan. There's a point. It's cool. It's weird. It kind of hurts my brain. And that's why making these videos is so fun, because it is such a... It's not just like that we're deconstructing every thought that we have about this show. It's like I'm deconstructing so many thoughts that I've had over a lifetime. Yeah. I'm sorry if I kind of got off topic a little bit, but it's just like, it's impossible to tell anybody, like, every time I catch up with someone these days, oh, what are you up to these days? I'm like, I'm rewatching RWBY, and I can't tell people that, because I'm like, I don't know how to verbalize the intense emotional roller coaster you and I are on.
And the thing is, like, even if I do find the courage to tell someone I'm rewatching RWBY, they're not gonna know what it is. And then I have to be like, it's an old cartoon I used to watch with my friends, whatever. And you're like, oh, is it good? No. I can't recommend it to someone that wasn't there.
You just kind of had to be there. Like, I can't imagine somebody just being like, here's this show called RWBY. You should watch it. Like, how do you just tell someone that and not expect to ruin their lives? Because this show is so all-consuming that once you know it exists and you've watched it, it's all you can think about. It keeps you up at night. Like, there's a reason it was my first true hyperfixation. It won't leave my brain. For the longest time, my Adam was RWBY.
Yes.
It was this thing that was so toxic in my life. And that's why I stopped watching it. And I thought I was out. I thought I'd seen the light. The tunnel was over. I was free. And now we're here. And I'm obsessed with it all over again. Anyway, R.I.P. Saffron and Tara's drywall. God, John! That's your sister's wall! I did notice this time through how much I missed Nora during the Brunswick Farm arc. Like, she just provides such a wonderful energy.
She's so great. I'm sorry, did you mean Nora, my man, Nora?
Stay away from my man!
And when he screams or whatever, because she gets injured, amazing.
But they're still not, like, confirmed couple.
Anger.
And now we're back to the whole romance. Who is she?
Yeah.
Tara and Saffron invented love, and apparently no one else understands the invention.
That's one reason I'm so curious about Bumblebee. Because to see the actual beginnings of a romantic relationship, theoretically see the actual relationship, I don't know. I only know so many spoilers. I'm very happy to actually see, like, a happy couple.
Yeah.
It's just not as impressive as seeing, like, relationship form and, like, be worked on. Or even if, like, main characters were already in a relationship. And just seeing main characters be in a relationship.
There's the trade-off of you don't get enough queer slow burns because shows get canceled if you have queer characters. But, like, also, sometimes the most radical thing you can do is to already have them in a relationship and working out their character dynamics. Like, one of the favorite things I love about Firefly is that 2 of the crewmates are already married. And it's like, their problems aren't falling in love with each other. It's like, how do we, a married couple, prioritize our goals on a ship full of other people, and you're the lieutenant to the captain? Because you never get to see marriages or relationships in media. And I think part of the reason that's why people struggle so hard with love is because, like, once they're in the relationship, you don't see a lot of the hard work that goes into choosing each other every day. There will be days where you do not feel the love, where you do not feel the bees and the birds, but you have to continue to keep choosing to work at it. And it's like, we don't see enough of that. So it's very hard for people to comprehend that when they fall in love themselves. I'm not saying that's media's responsibility is to teach you that, but it would help people have a more grasp of what mature adult love is. What comes after the happy first kiss from the fluff one shot of 2,000 words.
Still my favorite thing, though.
Oh, it's great. I'm never going to knock that. I read those to fall asleep sometimes.
Yes.
You know, for a little bit of hope and happiness. I have such a distinct memory of the cast tripling in size for Volume 7. So I don't know how they're going to fit in development for any of our main characters.
Interesting.
Because, like, I remember I saw the intro for it, and I was like, who are these people?
I was freaking out just by seeing Maria.
You were freaking. You're like, who's this old lady?
It just threw me off. I knew all the other characters on screen, except for this one old lady. She's cool. I love her.
I like that she's here. I'm very glad that she's here.
She has one of the best lectures this show has done. The teaching moment.
Yes.
This is like the first time they actually do what a teaching moment should be in a show. And the beautiful backyard of the lesbians. It's
the
butterflies everywhere. Ruby's scroll is still back there as far as we know.
Yeah.
She threw it in anger at Crow, which we haven't even talked about that yet.
We'll get there.
But getting there. Maria was so great at teaching with Ruby.
Oh, yeah.
She's also one of the most, like, realistic depictions of an older family member that I've seen. Like, she's not, like, crazy.
Yeah.
But she's crazy in, like, a real way.
Right.
It's just, like, refreshing.
Yeah.
I could see, like, this woman entering my life.
And be, like, immediately, like, never leave me again. Speaking of crazy in an unrealistic way, Darian.
Oh, God. I hate him.
Like, Emerald and Mercury were having a cool conversation, and he ruined it! But then he ruined it by also having astute observations? What?
I feel like they're finally, like, getting to know each other. Like, of course, they've been working with each other for a while. I didn't write too many notes this whole time. That was something I wrote. I was like, this would be such a cute scene with them trauma dumping with each other and actually getting to know each other. And then Tyrion enters and fills me with rage. I don't even care that he made good notes about, like, you know, real notes about them. I do not care. I felt like they were on their way to discussing a let's get out of here.
Yeah. Because he's just kind of like, hey, the universe seemed to show me the opportunities. And that's an interesting kind of reading it as a science. It's almost so funny the way that the villains believe in destiny and fate, and the heroes are like, there is no destiny, there is no fate, we're just choosing to be here.
Yeah.
That's a cool subversion of things. I kind of love hate Cinder being like, someone once asked me if I believed in destiny, and I'm still happy to say that I still do. Like, that's a Pyrrha callback.
Yeah.
That's a moments before you murdered a girl callback.
Yeah.
And that is a very interesting thing, because it's like, you know, typically the heroes are like destined for greatness, and the villains are like, I guess that's what makes them villains, is that they think that they're destined to live out some kind of unrealistic written fantasy.
For these, at least, I feel like a lot of times villains are people that feel like they had that destiny torn away from them,
right.
And now they're getting, you know, some sort of revenge.
Yeah.
It's so interesting. It's so
the fact
sad.
That Mercury's semblance was stolen from him.
Yeah, so he doesn't have a semblance.
Yeah, he never got it back.
I mean, he's still kicking butt.
I mean, yeah, that
Shout
explains
out.
why he's the best fighter outside of, like, maybe Crow?
Yeah.
That we've seen. Because he was probably pulling his punches with Yang.
Mm-hmm.
And that's really cool to me.
Yeah.
Because, you know, the idea that you do have to work harder when you're at a disadvantage. Because, like, in a world full of people with really cool powers, he just fights so good. That's a really cool overcompensation, and it says a lot about his character.
Yeah. I ship them both as siblings and together. Like, I don't know how to explain it. I just need this pair to stay in each other's lives. That makes sense?
Right.
And I just want them to run away to some random little town. They can defend it or whatever. I don't even care if they're still thieves. I just need them out of this.
Yeah.
And become the closest they can get to happy.
They don't understand that the things that they need are each other. Like, platonic and romantically.
I feel like they were almost there.
I honestly feel like that's why Tyrion was there. To be like, don't have your big breakthrough moment. Mm-hmm. Remember to always be on edge about all of your situations.
Do you think that in reality, him and the doctor were just walking the hallway, Tyrion happened to look and see them having a moment and ran over there, and that's why the doctor was still over there? He's like, Tyrion, can we go?
He's like twirling his mustache like, yes, ruin some children's lives.
Miss you, Roman.
I miss
you.
Roman.
You were the best villain.
He was so great. Everything about him was just perfect. Mm-hmm. And I like that Neo's new design works better with the hat.
Yes, I'm so happy she got a new design.
And that's another thing. I remember people being very divisive on the new design, too. Because, like, they got so mad at the fact that she was showing cleavage now.
You can tell she's gotten older.
Yeah.
She's still short. But
so short.
But I feel like she got taller. I also feel like she got skinnier. Which most likely hints at, like, living on the run, not being able to talk. So, yeah, she's older. Yeah. Just like all the other characters. Let her show her boobs if she wants.
Yeah. I was one of the people that was kind of iffy on it, but part of that was just I was so obsessed with her first design. And now I'm kind of like, honestly, it's one of the better redesigns in the entire show because of how it evolved the character look. Cinder got another new outfit again.
I will say, I do find her a little relatable. Fashionista queen.
I also know that I know I don't like the Volume 7 looks for Team RWBY.
Oh, gosh. You were complaining about that before, right?
Yeah. I mean, I complain about it a lot because, again, this is all that's in my brain right now. Yeah. Like, I'm trying to write an Owl House video as we speak. Nothing is registering. All I'm thinking of is RWBY. So, if that video does not come out by the end of April... What am I saying? This video probably won't be up until, like, July. The Pyrrha statue. That hit me so much harder this time.
I was sobbing.
Like, I saw you. I looked over and I'm like, oh, she's like full-blown crying right now.
I can only assume that Pyrrha was sending her mom pictures of her and teasing of her. Specifically Jean. You know she was gossiping with her mom about her crush. Because she recognized him.
But she didn't say that she recognized him. And I like that. I like that.
They recognize each other.
Yeah, that it would have been too much, I think, for them to verbally acknowledge that. Not for, like, writing perspective. I mean, like, as people. Like, to verbally acknowledge your daughter was, like, the closest thing I've ever had to a mentor and the first person to ever believe in me. And the way that you immediately see this is why Pyrrha was so good is because of how well her mother raised her and how much her mother loved her.
Seeing Ren and Nora come.
And seeing the statue. These are the most unobservant people in the world. Like, they cannot just, like, look up. Like, they're like, oh, we're near the city? It's like, it's 5 feet in front of you! It's like oh, there's a statue? Oh, there's a statue! This time around, I was thinking to myself, this would have been almost the perfect opportunity and excuse to write John, Ren, and Nora out of the show.
Yeah, I did think that too.
Because I was like,
for a second, I was scared that they were.
They were so much more jaded, and they have every right to be more jaded because they've lost more because of what Ozpin has done. And I thought to myself, yeah, this would be a good place to leave them. He could be with his sister, he could be the good uncle. Ren and Nora could protect a little seaside town, kind of living out what they always wanted to do. And instead, the Pyrrha statue reminds them, and it hits harder, and I feel the emotion of, like, she knew she wouldn't win. She tried anyway.
And once again, that's not something I registered watching it the first time. But rewatching it, I feel like we remember correctly, we talked about that. Yeah. She knew. Yeah. It's kind of nice to see that on screen.
It's kind of powerful.
They also had the same conclusions. Yeah. And they know that Pyrrha would continue. But, of course, Ren knows that Pyrrha will continue because he took over Pyrrha's spot for a little while there.
He's like, I must continue her legacy of bad exposition dumps.
I'm getting some of the same feelings as when RWBY did the Chiron chorus trilogy. The chorus art, yeah. Because that was, like, immediately after, like, freelancers and everything, and it felt so back at the roots of the show. And this had the same feelings for me. Right. In a sense, we had, like, divided storytelling going on. And, like, we had, like, the ghost town arc. Just having a arc, just it
Thank
feels...
God. A narrative.
Yeah, it's just
A plot.
There's I guess there's two. There's
Yeah. Well, you kind of have almost like 3 mini arcs going on. Yeah, you've got the train crash, the learning the backstory, and then the Brunswick farm. And that's how you see, like, Team RWBY kind of come around to the fact that, yeah, we have to keep going.
Mm-hmm.
Juniper gets their own little mini, this is why we keep going.
Mm-hmm.
And then you've got the fight with 3 different fights going on at the same time.
Yeah.
Which was frustrating to watch week to week because they kept cutting every time it was about to get interesting, which was a Volume 5 symptom.
Mm-hmm.
But Volume 5 was so bad that it made me forget that I was having such a good time with Volumes 1 through 4.
Mm-hmm.
And, like, this volume has a lot of ups and downs, probably more downs than I remember it having. But it's still pretty solid. Like, I'm having a good time with it.
If Volume 5 wasn't there, I would be like, I would have so much less negative things to say. Like, I feel like it'd be like, yes.
Yeah.
This
I would actually recommend the show to someone if Volume 5
be as embarrassed.
didn't exist. Volume 5 is just, it does such a disservice to everybody and everything. I am just in awe of how bad Volume 5 is in comparison to everything else. Because it almost taints the memory of everything. Because once you've experienced Volume 5, you're kind of just like, I remember week to week thinking to myself, okay, is this gonna suck? Is this gonna suck? Is this gonna suck? And sometimes it did. The Salem backstory. But then other times I'm like, I'm having a good time with it. I don't like the cliffhanger ending, though. That sucked. And anticlimactic. Like, it looks like they're gearing up for an attack.
Yeah. For me, it almost barely felt like a cliffhanger, because like cliffhanger, you're on suspense.
Right.
I already feel like the answer is just, like, they've been at that position.
Yeah.
You know, because we're pretty much told this whole time that they are surrounding their city as it's preparing for an attack.
Yeah,
So,
like, why are they shocked?
I'm not shocked.
But they are, and that doesn't make sense.
Yeah. I'm so excited for Iron to find out about Ozpin.
Ooh.
I'm excited for that.
I'm excited to see that this time around.
I'm so interested to see how that goes.
It's
Especially
so cool.
with it being Oscar and the way we know Ironwood is with kids.
Oh, yes. Oh, the duality of man.
Yeah.
We lost 2 valuable lives this volume. That of Blake's coat and Bumblebee, the motorcycle.
Mourning one a little more than the other.
Oh, no, I was cheering when that coat died, but that bike...
I miss that bike.
Rest in peace, you beautiful piece of machinery.
I of course think it's hilarious that Bumblebee hit Adam. Funny. I'll say it's funny. Look,
No, the way that he said, "What does she even see in you?" I was screaming.
I think I wrote whatever. Rip Bumblebee, directly underneath is homophobic ex-boyfriend.
Literally.
It's so...
No, but biphobic ex-boyfriend, which is honestly not more worse, but like a different breed of worse.
You know the video of Girls Like Girls by Hayley Kiyoko?
Yes! No, he's him! Ah!
Which I know, like, not reality. Like, realistically, I don't think it's a homophobic, fuel. I think it just hates all humans, gay or not.
That kind of stuck out as, like, Adam and Yang being foils in terms of, like, passionate, fiery, severely similar semblances.
Yeah.
But, like, the fact that Yang has to feel the pain herself in order to dish it back out. He can just channel it through a sword.
Yeah, so his semblance is to attach it to a weapon.
It's very weird. Like, how do you figure that out? Like, just one day you're like, ooh, I can do this!
You know, it would have been cool if that was done when he was attacking back whoever marked him.
I really wish I knew how to animate, because now I can visualize what our version of the Adam character short would look like, and it's godly.
I know. I'm right there with you. It would have been so much better.
Time to learn how to animate in Maya.
Oh, God. You have fun with that.
The camera is too zoomed in during the Blake and Adam fight at times.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like pull back, please. Pull back.
Yeah.
But it's also really cool that he, like, breaks Gamble's shroud.
Oh, yeah, that's her weapon.
Yeah, the sword.
I know, I was surprised. What's her weapon now?
I think she just, like, fuses it back together.
Okay, word.
But, like,
I think it would have been cool to have a change of weapons. I'll say it now. I think it would be cool to change weapons.
You're big brained.
And this is without Adderall.
The fight is good. The we're protecting each other line. Horrible. Awful. Cringe. In a bad way.
I hated it.
In a bad way, cringe. And then not an episode and a half later, they do a callback to it. And I'm like, no!
One thing I hate is that I kind of felt it coming just because of whenever Blake was like, I'll protect you, and Yang was like, ugh. And also, real quick, kind of cool to see that they weren't straight up hallucinating. Adam was following them.
It's really cool, actually. Well, I mean, what is funny is that everybody acts like Bumblebee wasn't planned from the start, as if their song literally didn't... The first song of the entire series isn't Black the Beast descends from shadow, yellow beauty burns gold. Like, I feel like Adam was always more Gaston than actually the prince. Mm-hmm. You know, the red, the anger, the you have to be with me. Mm-hmm. It's almost like but the reason his name is Adam is everyone automatically assumes he's the beast. We both know that apparently by volume 9 they're a thing.
Yeah.
But, like, how do you get from murder to relationship?
Bro, I thought they were gonna kiss for a second already. I was like, did I?
I was concerned, and I've seen this before, and I was concerned.
When
they do, like, the little head touch.
And when she's crying, which I was like, I really hope they don't kiss. Like, part of me, like, still was, like, thinking they were, even though I know they don't.
I feel like if Ilya had been Miss Queen of not the time nor the place, that would have happened.
I'm so stressed for Ilya to find out whenever they do get together.
Oh.
She's gonna be like...
So, like, I had a chance?
Oh, poor girl.
I would almost headcanon is that Adam is a year or two older and Ilya is a year or two younger.
Yeah. Yep.
Honestly, that would make sense, you know? Like, in my head. That she's, like, younger and she idolizes Blake and, like, falls in love with Blake, or, like, the idea she has of Blake.
It's almost this in a similar way Blake would do to Adam.
Right. Like, literally the mirroring each other of
If only I had the motivation to write fanfiction.
God. This fandom just became such a toxic drain on everybody involved. Like, I remember following a lot of RWBY YouTubers when I was younger, and I think each one of them at one point had a video that was the equivalent of, like, we need to talk about RWBY in terms of, like, disillusioned with it, disillusioned with the fandom, just kind of broken down by watching this show. And that is a unique experience compared to, like, just watching another TV show. It's like
I think it's a cartoon-only experience that happens.
It really is. It's a very unique thing. And it's like... The same thing happened with, like, Steven Universe and the Star versus the Forces of Evil, where it's just, like, something about the fandoms and the waiting and the relationship with the crew all completely deteriorated because of, like, a combination of very similar factors.
I think what happens a lot with cartoon creators is that they have to fight, of course, for the right to have certain things in their show, just as much as any other kind of creation does. I do feel sometimes they're a little more lenient in certain things. And that allows... Oh my god, it's why...
No!
Cartoon creators are so much more tech savvy. And they're the ones that are more often on Twitter. They're the ones more often engaging with the fandom.
That's
and
it.
That is double-edged sword. Because it just leads to things like the disillusionment. Like Rebecca Sugar.
Oh, Rebecca Sugar.
Is something. And that led to, like, a lot of complications with the feelings on Steven Universe. And, of course, some of the ways it handled some certain topics.
But you saying that reminded me of another one of the instances where Miles and or Carrie said something stupid on Twitter about this volume. They refused to confirm or deny if the red-haired woman was Pyrrha's mother.
Girl.
Just say that it is! What is the problem with it? Like, what is the deal? Why can't you just say yes? And move on. It has to be like a mystery, a plot twist, a big reveal. And it's like, the thing with Adam's eyes, that aggravated me. Because it's like, why should it matter? I would love it if it's her mom. Because otherwise, John's having hallucinations.
Like, unless they have plans. Which we know
For
they
what?
don't. We know they don't. But, like...
You're never seeing that woman again.
You could say, like, no, not the mom, it's her sister. Like, either, like, if you don't want it to be the mom, give us an aunt.
Give us something!
Like, there's just no reason to open up that communication and discussion of the content, which they had already done, and then continuously not follow through.
There's a clip of Miles Luna, like, pulling up into the mic and yelling, "No spoiler questions!" And it's like...
How would we know?
You know, like, half the stuff they're asking isn't even spoiler questions. It's just the basic decency of, you did not address this in your show. Yeah. Like, again, what was Roman and Neo's relationship? Oh, no spoiler questions. It's going to be in a book that you have to read and pay for with money. I want the creator to respect me. Mm-hmm. And it's like, be gentle with me, please. Let me be passionate about what you're making, and don't get mad at me for having questions. Mm-hmm. And then taunt the answers in front of me like a little dangling carrot.
We're enjoying this.
Yes.
But there are reasons we faded away. And I think it's okay to go back to those reasons and have them as part of our comprehension of what we're watching.
The last note I have is flying monkeys, because A, the fairy tale reference, B, there are 3 things my father is scared of in this world. One is wasps, the other is bees. The third is the flying monkeys from The Wizard of Oz. Like, you bring up the flying monkeys and that man goes pale. And he's already pale. He's already as white as a sheet. And that man loses every other ounce of color he has when he thinks about those flying monkeys.
Oh my. We didn't talk too much about the rest of the team's big fight. It was okay.
In the mech fight?
Yeah.
Very anime.
Very anime.
I feel like that's the scene with the drill. I feel like I've seen that from an anime, and I haven't even watched much anime.
I almost pissed myself when they said, in video games, the thing is usually on the back, because I literally just talked about that, how it felt like a video game this season.
See, you're so big brain that you can see every move. You're 7 steps ahead of them.
Like, that is why Nora says what we're thinking immediately after.
And then Crow and Ren find it, and they're like, well, okay then. So I started blasting.
I don't know what RWBY Chibi is like. Is it like fun shenanigans?
Oh, it's incredibly fun shenanigans.
Do all the characters like talk?
Yeah, like they have fun shenanigans together. Like,
hey, that's what I want.
I can't wait to watch RWBY Chibi. RWBY Chibi is gonna make me more emotional than actual RWBY, and RWBY already makes me very emotional right now. When they introduced Chibi Pira, Nora's like, nothing bad ever happened. Ever.
What are they doing? What does RT have?
That's... Controversy.
Speaking of which, when does Vic Mignogna leave?
This is it. This was his last volume.
What are Crow's best performances yet? He's such a drama queen. I don't think we properly talked about this.
He's so angsty.
Okay, so that's what it was. I wanted to talk about Crow's alcoholism this season.
Yes.
It's finally being properly addressed. Like, it was always like throwaway drunk joke. Tee. But now Ruby is like sighing every time he pulls out a flask. She breaks the bottle. I loved that.
And he kind of like registers that she's pissed.
Mm-hmm. It was refreshing, and we really got to see Ruby grow and see how much she has grown.
The leader.
Yeah. And I loved that Maria wasn't too mean to Crow. She's like, I think you underestimated them or whatever. She's like, but you were there to help when needed. And that is, he needs that positive reinforcement.
Well, he needed the gentleness.
Yeah.
To get that from his hero.
Mm-hmm.
It was a really sweet moment. Sweet. She's so great. I'm so glad that she's here. The cashews!
Hilarious. I love that little enemies. I would say frenemies that
just
they
enemies.
have.
Just enemies.
It's very much,
you know,
Into the Spider-Verse. You're like, oh, great, it's Liv. With Aunt May.
You know, Maria smuggling cashews onto a flight was the most interesting thing to happen to Cordovan in years. Mm-hmm. And that's why she fixated on it. Because nothing happens to this woman. Let's not worry. Maybe she's dead.
This season really was validating. We've been talking about Osmond being a cult leader and being super shady.
And he's a cult leader who's super shady.
Yeah, like, this season we finally got to see him, like, showing all his true colors. Mm-hmm. I've been super concerned about Crow and his alcoholism. Now we finally see all the characters being super concerned. It's interesting how easily all the children have accepted Crow as part of their family. Because for a second, like, it was like Yang and Ruby's uncle. Now it's like, oh, we've never seen him this bad before.
He is the closest thing they have to an adult. I hate the Crow is Ruby's father theories, but, like, he does have a favoritism toward her.
Yeah.
And that's also because I don't know if they've ever confirmed who was partners with whom with Team Stark.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I feel like, obviously, you can't have Crow and Raven be partners with each other. I don't think that would have worked.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like it would have been really interesting if Raven and Ty were partners and Crow and Summer were partners, because then it's almost like he failed his partner. Like, it doesn't even have to be, like, the love of his life. It's just, like, he failed his partner. Like, imagine if Weiss failed Ruby.
Mm-hmm.
And the guilt.
That would be so intense. I hate that I love this show.
Me too.
And I hate that part of me likes almost every character in some way.
Yeah. I mean, Adam grew on us in his final moments.
I'm
mad about that.
I don't understand.
I'm like, no, not the white boy.
That's so interesting.
I also like that Ruby doesn't get the silver eyes on the first try. It was a really cool way of using Jin's time-stopping ability. I like that she's kind of impressed with the cleverness of it. Like, never pull that shit again. But, like, okay, I'll give you that.
That's all.
I'd like to think that maybe they stopped by the statue one last time before going off to execute their plan. Headcanon.
Fun fact, it's going to be like 2 weeks before we're able to watch more.
You'll have forgotten everything by that point.
I will. I've forgotten most of the season already.
For me, it's 2, 4, 3, 6, 1, 5.
Literally, the only thing that's different is our number ones. Number 1 and 2 is switched. Which, 4 is still so solid for me. Mm-hmm. So,
4 aged surprisingly well. It feels so wrong to have 1 just a single rung above 5.
Like, let me make it clear. This is the list. 5 in reality is over here. You know, no 5. It's ranked last, but last is also 1,000 places below season 1.
It really is. If 5 didn't exist, my crops would be watered, my skin would be clear. Yeah. Like, comment, subscribe, the whole ordeal. Y'all know the drill. This is YouTube. Thank y'all for watching, and we'll catch y'all eventually for Volume 7.